This is a tutorial for how to write a P paragraph. Today I'm going to focus on the poem The Highwayman and answer the question, why do we sympathise with Bess? To start with, the P in your P paragraph stands for a point, and a point is a one-sentence response to the question you are answering. So in order to know why we might sympathise with Bess, I will need to remind myself of the poem and think of a point in the poem where we may feel some pity for her. So I'm not going to look at the very first bit where she's quite happy. She has just made an arrangement with the highwayman to meet him later. There is then the point where Tim, the ostler, tells King George's men that the highwayman is coming back. And straight on to this point where the highwaymen come in and they capture her and tie her up. So the actual specific quote I'm going to look at is this one here. They gagged his daughter and bound her. So remember when they're talking about his here, they are talking about the landlord. So the landlord's daughter, as we know, is Bess. So my point is going to be, we sympathise with Bess because, and if I think back to the quote I've chosen, they gagged his daughter and bound her to the foot of her narrow bed, I think we feel sorry for her because she is not the criminal. She is just the person who is in love with somebody who is a criminal. So he is the person, the highwayman, who has done something wrong, but she is the one being punished for it. So to summarise that in one point, we sympathise with Bess because she is being punished despite the fact she is not a criminal and has only fallen in love. So the second part of our P paragraph, we've completed the P. We then need our first E. Our first E stands for evidence. And already you've done this part of the work if you've reminded yourself of the poem and thought about the point you are going to make. So as you know, my evidence is they gagged his daughter and bound her. I'm not going to use the whole sentence or even the whole line because my evidence only needs to include some of these words. They gagged his daughter and bound her. That violent language, gagged and bound, to see that she is being punished and held captive in some way. I don't need any more than that. So to embed my evidence, I am going to start with for example. For example, then my quote marks, because I'm quoting directly from the poem. They gagged his daughter and bound her. Finally then we have the P and the first E, our point and evidence. We then need our final E, which is to explain. So to make it really clear that you understand the points you are making, you need to explain how your evidence proves your point. So as a reminder, I am saying that we sympathise with Bess because she's being punished despite the fact she is not a criminal and has only fallen in love. For example, they gagged his daughter and bound her. So this shows, or this suggests Bess is being treated cruelly and has been captured and restrained. This makes the reader sympathise with her because she should not be the person being captured. It should be the highwayman. So to recap, a P paragraph is when you respond to a question by making a point, which is usually one sentence to answer the question. You then include a piece of evidence which proves your point, and finally you explain exactly how your evidence proves your point.